All right, settle down over there, Carl. I know you're always talking about fire.
So scary. I apologize. I will distinguish my fire right here.
The Department and Agency Subcommittee is now in session. It's Wednesday, April the 6th, hearing room 2 at 2 p.m. Lisa, please call the roll.
Beck,
Here.
Bricken,
Here.
Carr,
Here.
Carringer, Chisholm,
Here.
Halford,
Here.
Kiesling,
Yes.
Holsclaw.
Present.
Chairman Holsclaw, you have a quorum.
Thank you. It's so good to have this A team back together. Any personal orders or anything to discuss? Seeing none, we're going to take up our calendar, which is HB 2877.
Motion.
We have a motion, a second, and we have an amendment, and the amendment makes the bill, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Second.
We've got a motion, and a second, so we're now voting to put amendment, let's see, you're doing the second one, right?
16875.
16875. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Amendment's properly on the bill. Explain the amendment.
Thank you, sir. The amendment makes the bill, and what this does, it makes various changes to the appointments of members, appointing authorities, terms and powers and duties and members appointed to the Tennessee Human Rights Commission. Requires the Attorney General and reporter to make a complaint form available on the office's website for persons alleged to have been aggrieved by THRC for the purpose of conducting proper investigations into grievances, and for such form to be available to be submitted electronically. I'll be glad to take questions and explain further, but don't want to take up too much of your time.
Members, questions? You are recognized, Chairman Kiesling.
Maybe explain just a little bit more in depth, if you would,
Certainly.
Chairman.
Some of what this does, it vacates the current commission on September 1st of this year and has redoes the appointment structure. Right now, it's 5 appointments for the governor and 4 for the legislature. And this puts that at 3 for the governor, 3 for the Speaker of the House, and 3 for the Speaker of the Senate. So a little more evenly distributed there, certainly among the legislative branch. As I said, it vacates the commission September 1st, and it also creates this complaint mechanism in the Attorney General's office, so that if someone feels like the commission has not treated them fairly, we've heard of complaints in the past. I've got a constituent, I'm not going to go into great detail about how they were, in my opinion, abused and terrorized by this group, but there are times I'm understanding that their staff makes a recommendation to the director. Let's say there's no action needed. The complaint was investigated, there was not a problem, there's nothing needs to be done, and that director in the past has said, you will find something to do with these, and they then go back and start making them jump through a lot of hoops, and it's been pretty bad. And there is a new director now, an interim director, and they'll be seeking a permanent director, I'm sure. But that's one of the reasons I'm bringing this. It's just not out of the blue, but I guess it's probably 3 years ago, had a constituent come to me and explain to me their experience with this group. And we had a bill actually that would wind them down. And then COVID hit, and that fell by the wayside. Then last year we had another bill that wouldn't hardly go that far, but had some corrective measures in it. And there were a couple of mechanical issues with getting it started, and so that didn't happen. And so this is what I'm bringing this year. I'm working this with Senator Bell, and I've spoken to some of the commission folks already. They came to my office, we had a conversation, and asked them to bring me some suggestions of how some of these problems can be fixed, and they never got back with me. So Senator Bell and I got together and said, okay, what's a reasonable thing to do at this point? And that's what's got us here.
Chairman Carr, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. And to the sponsor, I believe it says in there too that and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is just a correction because I think maybe some of the members had been taking on themselves that were going to act as more authority than the whole commission itself. And that explains in there that they're not to act that way now. Of course, they shouldn't be anyway, but it does make that clear that the commission or the thing, they make the rules and promulgate the rules and whatever they need. They're not as one member would come together and try to do everything themselves. Is that halfway right?
You're recognized.
Yes, sir, that is. This prevents them from forming a committee within the commission that actually has more authority and power than the commission itself, which has been done in the past. It just seems unconscionable that that could happen, but they literally have had an executive committee that would not share information with the other commission members that weren't on that committee. And these are all commission members appointed by these appointing authorities.
Chairman Carr.
Thank you, and I just want to get that clarified because I know that was happening, so that's you know, I want to break out on the record. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Sponsor.
Representative Keeling, was you completed with your questioning?
I was not, but that's okay. Thank you, Chairman. Appreciate it.
Don't want to cut you short.
Sorry, Chairman.
Chairman Carr down there was jumping up and down. Representative Beck, you are recognized.
Thank you. What is your thought behind not, under the old code, it said that the members were divided between the 3 grand divides, but you don't have this in that requirement in the new bill that or amendment that you're bringing forward. It says just strive for the 3 grand divides. Most committees and boards do have the language about the 3 grand divide. So what's your thought in not having that in your bill?
Representative Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the thought behind this is it may not be really easy to find folks that want to serve on this commission. And so we didn't want to really restrict it and leave it short. So in case, you know, obviously we want them to strive to make sure it has fair representation across the state. But in case that just were not possible, that they would at least not have to be bound by that. But that is certainly the intention, that we strive to do that.
Representative Beck.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman. And my second concern is, why are we blowing up the board and not doing it incrementally with the new appointments?
Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think there's just been so much bad history here that I've found out about that I think we just need to start with a clean slate, and that's what Senator Bell and I had discussed at length and decided that was probably the best thing. And some of these members possibly could be reappointed, but we just need to start fresh. There's enough bad blood there that over the years that has been created with the public, members of the public, that we just felt like it was the best thing to do to just start fresh.
Representative Beck.
Okay. I mean, I don't have any problem with how y'all want to split up the members. That's strictly up to you and the administration and the 2 speakers. But I do have a problem with not mandating the 3 grand divides. That's worked so well for our state. And I would hate to, you know, all the people start coming from Middle Tennessee or West Tennessee, and there's nothing to be done about it. So that does bother me. Thank you.
Would you be willing to make the amendments state such, or what's your feeling on that?
I don't know of a reason not to do that. I just think that, again, there could be some difficulty in filling this commission, and I wouldn't want to hamstring the speakers or the governor with that must or shall. But if the will of the committee is to do that, it's not a big sticking point. It's just to give a little more flexibility. Obviously, both speakers have representation in their ranks from across the state, and they're going to want to satisfy those ranks to make sure that all of their members are well represented and their districts are. So I think with the intent being there, that should be good enough. But if the committee doesn't think so, I'd be glad to make that change.
I think I'm kind of like Representative Beck. I'd like to see, you know, to lock that in just so none of the divisions get slided. Other comments, questions? Representative Beck?
I'd make the motion that we change the wording to shall.
Okay. Okay, we're going to go out for a minute to legal and let them give an explanation on this, and it may solve the issue. We're out of order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Josh Houston, Legal Services. Just as a point of clarification, what the code requires now is that 3 members, there's 9 members on the board, but it says that 3 members of the commission shall reside in each grand division. So it doesn't necessarily divide them, all 9 of them up into 3 grand divisions. It just says that 3 of them shall be in each grand division. I'm not sure if that changes anybody's thoughts, but I just wanted to give a point of clarification.
We have questions for legal? Yeah. Representative Beck.
So are you saying, as it states now, we're at 3, 3, and 3, it's a 9-member commission, I take it, is what you're telling us?
Yes, that's correct. It is a 9-member commission, and the next subdivision says that 3 members of the commission shall reside in each grand division.
And under this proposed legislation, there will be no, there will or will not be any mandate to have 3, 3, and 3 from each grand division.
That's correct. It says the appointing authority shall strive to appoint members from each grand division of the state.
Okay, so, I mean, we're still could have an unbalanced board under this legislation.
That's certainly possible.
Thank you.
Other questions for legal? Seeing none, we're back in session. Other questions? Representative Beck.
With that explanation from legal, and I appreciate, I had forgotten that that's the way it was structured now, I think we actually could end up with a more evenly dispersed board across the state under this than we do now. It's potential because that requires only 3 of those members to be from each grand division, and this would say that all appointees, we should strive to have them equally represented. But again, I'm at the will of the committee on the amendment. Wouldn't mind putting that on in full. Or here.
Okay, basically what we're talking about now, Representative Beck has made a motion, and that's to change the wording. So do I hear a second to change the wording? We've got a second, so we need to vote on the motion to change the wording. Chairman?
Thank you, Chairman. Can we get just a clarification when we change this word? The wording is going to shall instead of, what's it say now? I mean,
It's going to do 3, 3, and 3 from each division versus just potentially having 3 from the divisions, the way it's explained. Does that make sense?
If you'd like me, I can read off of it.
Okay, we're going back out of session. We're going to hear from legal to get the exact verbiage. We're out of session.
So what subdivision B2 says now is the appointing authorities shall strive to appoint members from each grand division of the state. And what I will change it to read will be the appointing authorities shall appoint a member from each grand division of the state.
You clear on that, Chairman Carnell?
thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're going to vote on changing the wording to shall for in each grand division. So those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is adopted.
Make a statement that we're going to roll those 2 amendments into one amendment for the full committee.
And just for clarification, we're going to take the amendments and roll it into one for the full committee without objection. Did I see any objection? Okay, having said that, we're now voting on HB 2877. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Bill moves on to full. That concludes our calendar for the day. Department agency has finished its business and is closed subject to call of the chair. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? We're adjourned.